Welcome everyone to the Side Draft Podcast. This past weekend, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series went to Bristol Motor Speedway. As hectic as it always is, it was a lot of bumping, banging, and a lot of crazy stuff happening. We had some interesting news before the race. We had Harrison Burton, who was sick. He had to take the week off and let Christopher Bell drive it. Really hope Harrison Burton feels better very soon, but it was great to see Christopher Bell back into the Truck Series.
Yeah, not only did he substitute for him, but he also got the pole.
Yeah, so Christopher Bell starts on the pole. We would have Ben Rhodes start right next to him on the outside. This is a debut race for two people. We have Stefan Parsons and Bailey Curry. So they did reasonably well.
Yeah. Stephen Parsons, I think he finished top 15 or something like that. So,
which
it's actually 17th. So
yeah. Which, I wouldn't pick Bristol as my first race, honestly, but they did, and Stefan did really, really well. Stayed out of trouble. Talked about him a few times, but really, you don't want to be talked about unless you're winning. So thankfully, he stayed out of trouble and had a good race.
Yeah, Bristol's a kind of iconic race. Everybody likes to go to Bristol, short track. So I don't know. It'd be interesting why they decided to pick that track.
Yeah, and off the bat, we had the 30 of Legace Jr. His second start, he spun while he was running 21st. So unfortunate for him, but that would be our first caution. A few laps later, we would have the 04 of Roper. He would go around. And another caution would happen. We would have John Hunter Nemechek. He would take the lead of 22 to go. And he would go on the win stage. Early on, John Hunter Nemechek had a phenomenal truck. Just a truck that could just go anywhere it wants, do what it wants.
Yeah, I believe he was the class of the field. I think he had more movement in the truck. He could go high or go low, but I think he was the very first one that tried the high lane.
And Johnny Sauter would finish second in the stage right behind John Hunter. We'd have Grant Enfinger in third. We'd have the 51 of Christopher Bell and the 41 of Ben Rhodes. So that would be the strongest cars throughout most of stage 1 and stage 2. John Hunter would stay out. We would see some strategies. Some cars were trying to, keep the older tires. Some were trying to get the newer tires very soon. So it was a lot of differing strategies.
Yeah, there was some trucks that pitted earlier, so they got out ahead of the other ones and just trying to get some track position.
And the Ford Todd Gilliland, he got loose. Got into the 97 of Jesse Little, which is very unfortunate for Todd Gilliland because he needed to win this race to make it to the playoffs. But, barely making it to the playoffs in your first full year is pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, he had a really good truck. I think he just got loose on the bottom or something. I ain't sure how the groove was. Unfortunately, got into Jesse Little. I ain't sure why Jesse Little didn't come in and fix his damage then, because after went back to green and Jesse had a real bad tire rub. I mean, he was smoking real bad in the turns.
Maybe it's just like a miscommunication with the spotters. Maybe from spotter's stand, it looked fine, but in real life, it's smoking, it's bad. There's nothing you can really do besides go in a pit. And
it make it real bad that Todd Gill, once he come in back in the pits, I believe he pitted outside the box, and unfortunately that's a 1 lap penalty, so he goes 1 lap down, so that makes his night even a lot worse for him.
He would have a lot of fighting back to do, but he would fight back. Saw him in the 18 get into it just a little bit there in stage 2 towards the end, but managed to save his stuff throughout the finish. As we said, the 97 going to the pit road. He would lose a lot of laps, and that's exactly why you don't want to, have those issues at Bristol, because
if you pit under the green, you're gonna lose.
You're done.
A ton of laps, so it's gonna be hard to recover from that.
You're done unless the entire field has the same issue, and that's really unfortunate for some teams.
I mean, he had a strong truck. I mean, he was running top 10, so. I mean, for somebody to be on a limited schedule, they want to come out with good trucks, and every time they come to the track, they're real competitive.
We had the 13 of Myatt Snyder. He would go around at the end of stage 2 with some contact with the 18 of Noah Gragson, which he almost made it, but too little too late, and into the wall he went. Unfortunate for him, because he was another one of those that needed to win. His truck just seemed to really struggle all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate he made contact with the inside wall. Yeah, I think he had to end his race early.
And John Hunter would win stage 2 as well. Johnny Sauter would finish in second. Once again, Brett Moffitt in third, Stuart Friesen in fourth, and Christopher Bell in fifth. Bell's running a pretty good race, top 5 all day. We would move on to stage 3. Gragson, his truck seemed to be really ill handling. Didn't seem to be what he wanted it to do. Too tight, too loose. He would take 2 tires to gamble, go to the lead, but just couldn't keep it. Johnny Sauter would take over, and then John Hunter Nemechek would eventually get around Sauter with a lot of...
It was a lot of lap traffic. It was just trying to fight their way through the traffic, and John Hunter used that to his advantage.
We always get excited when the announcers say side draft. Lap traffic, the podcast must have really loved that.
Yeah,
a ton of them out there, a ton of podcasts out there. But yeah, it was just interesting to see how the lap traffic would, take control of this race. Who could control?
Yeah, because they would fight the leader real hard, just try to stay on the lead lap. But and passing it's kind of hard at Bristol. But it seemed like whichever lane you took, and another one, whichever worked out better. And then Stuart Friesen, he was catching up right there close to him too.
Especially if this new configuration of Bristol, the way the track is, the way these cars are designed, it's really tough to pass people. And I think they're trying to bring back the bump and runs as we would see happen a few times in this race. But for John Hunter, he would eventually take the lead as Sauter and Friesen would battle it out for a little bit. We thought that's it, case closed. And John Hunter, once again, fuel pump issue for him, losing another race mechanically.
I ain't sure what's happened with that truck. I mean, he only had a couple laps to go, and all of a sudden he had a pretty sizable lead, and then all of a sudden he just wouldn't go.
And with that, we had Friesen and Sauter. Lap traffic got in the way of Friesen, so basically gave Sauter a win, his 5th of the season. That's a drive by a veteran. Veterans outlast, and that's just really impressive by the 21 team.
Yeah, Sauter, he just barely lost that one last week. And Stuart Friesen, he's just right there about every week. But he's eventually going to get a win.
Stuart Friesen's, I don't want to make this analogy, but he's kind of like the Chase Elliott of the Truck Series, because, he's so close, he just can't seem to get the deal done. But maybe we're going to a road course.
Yeah, he's making gains every
next week.
We're doing a lot of learning. And
we could see Friesen pull a Chase Elliott.
It's possible.
So, some honorable mentions here. The Ford truck, where did he go? He finished 5th after all of that. And Bristol, it's hard to pass. He just found something on the higher lane. And
yeah, just imagine if he didn't have the troubles earlier, having to spin and going a lap down, and could have got up here and challenged Sauter for the win. I mean, that would really upset the points, because if he would have got the win, then Crafton would have been out. So.
Yeah. Crafton also had a tough day. Still managed to finish in the top 10. They seem to struggle with this Ford chassis a little bit. I think if they could just, figure out what's causing all these mechanical issues for them, they might be pretty strong in the playoffs. Also, honorable mention is the 75 Parker Kligerman, finished 4th. Nice drive by him.
Yeah, he always does strong in the trucks. I mean, he's always up there competing for the win in that truck.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see him run for a championship sometime again.
Oh yeah.
But that is all for our Bristol review. Up next is our picks.
Also, Ross Chastain, he was ran real well tonight too.
Oh yeah.
So, finished 12th. I mean, he's running every series now, and even in the Xfinity Series, he's in the playoffs. So.
Currently in the playoffs, trying to hold off, and hopefully he'll get it. But our picks in this race, they didn't really do too well as we thought they would. We either give them a curse or we give them extra speed. But my pick was Matt Crafton. He finished 8th. His pick was Noah Gragson. He finished 9th. Right there with each other almost every single weekend.
Yeah, we're just like we are, side by side. They're right there with each other. And at least they finished in the top 10. So.
I'm starting to think everyone watches this podcast and they go, okay, they picked us. We got to work together.
Yeah.
So it really makes us, it's a battle between side draft and drivers don't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the playoffs have now began. The next race.
Yeah, congratulations to Johnny Sauter for winning the regular season points championship.
Yeah.
That's a cool trophy too. That was
cool trophy. If you don't want it, I'll gladly take it. No, just kidding. But the playoffs are set now with the regular season champion Johnny Sauter. That adds him an additional 15 playoff points. So Brett Moffitt is his second competitor, right behind him. Brett Moffitt has 27 points, while Sauter has 42. So there's a big cushion there for Sauter.
Oh, yeah.
Sauter has almost a full one race length playoff cushion.
Yeah, he's really running real strong this year.
So that's basically one race you can do whatever you want, finish as bad as you want, and you'd still be pretty much safe.
Yeah, because they got Talladega coming up, so
save it for Talladega. You want to. Brett Moffitt there with 27. He's also been strong. We have Ben Rhodes. He's quietly right behind the toughest competitors. I think if he can capitalize on it, I think he might be a threat for the championship. He has only 14 points. So Brett Moffitt and Sauter have broken away just a tiny bit from these guys.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Haley in 4th with 9. And we have Noah Gragson. I don't believe he only has 0 playoff points. I think that's something wrong with their website because he's won a race. I believe it's like 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there, playoff points. So I think he should be tied with Haley or 1 point above, something in there. We have Stuart Friesen with 12, Enfinger with 11, and Crafton with only 3. Which, with those issues on the website, I'm not sure how credible those are. But yeah, that is the current playoff rundown. We have Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, something of that line.
Yeah. The first road course of the year.
First and only.
Yeah.
So we would go back to how they raced last year, but the competitors for the win are no longer in the series. We had Kaz Gralla and Austin Cindric going for the win last year, and both of those have moved on to the Xfinity Series. So we can't really base our picks off of that, and we can't base our picks on the other road courses because there hasn't been any. So
we'll see who the superstars are going to be this weekend.
Yeah. We could see someone completely new. Someone hasn't won yet. Who knows? we could see some of the guys that barely missed out on the playoffs just show them up. But who are you going with for Canadian Tire?
I think I'm going to go with Justin Haley. I believe he's going to get it done this weekend.
I'm going with the 16 of Brett Moffitt. I think he's had some extra practice on these road courses. Ran the K&N race, Watkins Glen, a few weeks back, and he won it. And I think he'll get the job done.
That's a good pick.
So that's going to be on a Sunday this time. So tune in for the truck race this Sunday, and we'll be here to recap that one and make our picks. Don't forget to find Adele Jr. hidden in this thumbnail somewhere. Comment down below where you found him, and we'll give you a shout out on the next video. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.